We're waiting on a verdict for Gabrielle Nestande today after an emotional day of testimony in the deadly hit-and-run trial.
Nestande took the stand and she cried several times as she told her side of the story. Former Capitol staffer is accused in the death of Courtney Griffin 2 years ago. And KXAN Sophia Beausoleil is live outside of the Travis County Courthouse with more on this. Good morning.
Good morning, Sally. The jury didn't receive the case until 7 o'clock last night, and they wrapped up deliberations about 3 hours later without making a decision. Now, both sides gave very emotional closing arguments after Nestande took the stand. And when her attorney asked her who was responsible for Courtney Griffin's death, Nestande took a long pause, cried, and said, "I am." She continued to tell her side of the story. And Nestande says, yes, she had several drinks earlier that night, but she felt okay to drive. And she says that she had reached for her phone from her cup holder to set her alarm when the accident happened. Prosecutors say the evidence shows the former staff worker clearly had too much to drink before the crash. Nestande's defense team says the prosecution didn't show that Nestande was guilty of intoxication manslaughter of Courtney Griffin, and Nestande clenched onto tissues as she talked about the moment she hit Griffin.
I was so scared. My heart was beating out of my chest, and I looked up and the whole right side of my windshield was just shattered.
This morning we have our legal expert Mindy Montford with us. So it was a very emotional day yesterday in court, especially with Nestande taking the stand. How exactly do you think that plays on the jury?
Well, I think she had to take the stand. In a case like this where you're pleading not guilty, they want to hear her side. They want to hear what she saw that night, why she did what she did. I think they probably got a little more than most people thought. She did accept responsibility. Of course, you know, that could be read both ways. She found out after the fact, according to her, that she had hit somebody. And so they wanted to see her reaction and the emotion, which I do think came across.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, emotion is such a big key, especially in cases like this. From your perspective, does that really sway a jury?
I don't know that it sways them, but again, I think she had to get up there, take some responsibility, and show she was remorseful. Not that this was something that hasn't affected her or hasn't bothered her. They definitely needed to see that she was human. They're going to be seeing a lot of emotion with regards to the victim and the victim's family, so I think they had to counter that by putting her on the stand and showing her emotional side as well.
All right, thank you so much. And all morning long, we'll hear more from Nestande from the court yesterday, and we'll be on this all day long. Check our website, KXAN.com, for all the up-to-date coverage. Reporting live downtown, Sophia Beausoleil, KXAN News.
And we'll check back with them a little bit later on in the hour. Of course, we've been following this case since day one when Austin police were called out to the scene of the hit and run.
Wanted to give you a quick timeline of how this all happened. Police got the call in the early morning hours of May 27th, 2011. Then they got a tip of Gabrielle Nestande's car that it was parked in a driveway, had a broken windshield. You know, that windshield was actually taken inside the courtroom during the trial, just one of the pieces of evidence. Now, she was arrested later that morning, Nestande, at the state capitol. She worked there as an administrative assistant for State Representative Wayne Christian.
Nestande was first charged with failing to stop and render aid, and it wasn't until late October of last year when the DA pursued the additional charges of intoxication manslaughter and manslaughter. She could face up to 20 years in prison if convicted.